Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, nahmaduhu wa nasta'inuhu wa nastaghfiruhu wa nu'minu bihi wa natawakkalu alayhi wa na'udhu billahi min ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan abduhu wa rasuluh. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. We've been looking at Hadith in short bites. We've been having sort of 10-12 minute discussions or chats on different aspects of ilm Hadith. Hadith is what the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam said, and ilm Hadith is the subject of Hadith, as I said. And over the last 3 weeks, we've been dealing with the conditions of which a Hadith has to fulfill. And as I explained to you, a Hadith has 2 parts, the narrators and the text. And the Imams who collected these Ahadith, they set down some conditions for the narrators to fulfill. And we went through those. And then they set down some conditions for the text of the Hadith. Now, before I start, and I have said this before, when we look at a Hadith, let's go to categories of Hadith first. There are many ways to categorize a Hadith, and one of the most popular methods or ways of doing it is how authentic is the Hadith. So the most authentic Hadith are called Sahih. So you have Sahih of Bukhari, you have Sahih of Muslim, you have Imam Malik's Muwatta. All these are called books which have Sahih Hadith. Now, all that means is that the Imams of Hadith had set down 4 conditions that the narrators had to fulfill. So the narrator of a Hadith, for example, in Bukhari, would have fulfilled those 4 conditions. And then these Imams, they set down, I think it was 3 conditions for the text of the Hadith. And the text of the Hadith fulfilled those 3 requirements. So if a Hadith overall fulfilled these 7 conditions or these 7 requirements, it will be called Sahih. And then next step down from that is a Hadith that might, a Hadith which are called Husan. What that means is this, that such a Hadith fulfills the 4 criteria, the 4 conditions for the narrators, but the text doesn't fulfill the conditions that were set for that are required for the text to pass. For example, one of the conditions for the text is that it mustn't say something that is patently against the Holy Quran. So if a Hadith, however correct from a technical point of view, its text says something that is against the teachings of the Holy Quran, then that cannot be attributed to the Holy Prophet Muhammad. So basically these are 2 types of Hadith which might be regarded as authentic or correct. And in that category you find things like Abu Dawud and Tirmizi and Nisai and so on and so forth. Then there are 2 categories of those ahadith which might not be fully reliable. So first one is called Zaif. Now what Zaif means is this, that although a hadith, the part of the hadith where narrators are mentioned, those narrators fulfill all the conditions laid down by the Imam, such as that the hadith, the chain of narrators goes back to the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and so on. But the text itself doesn't fulfill all the conditions. So although the chain is there, the text doesn't fulfill all the conditions. So it is said this hadith is zaif, this hadith is weak, kamzor in Urdu and so on. And then the last sort of category are not really hadith, they're called mawzu. And that means that they don't actually fulfill most of the conditions, either relating to narrators or relating to the text of the hadith. So they are called mawzu, so call them rejected, call them unauthentic, call them what you will. And sometimes people are misled by these words. For example, when I was in South Africa, there was a dispute. I had translated something, and it was a reference which talked about mutawatir hadith, and our opponents translated that as being an authentic hadith, and I objected to that translation. I said the mutawatir hadith doesn't have to be an authentic hadith. All it means is that there is a continuous chain of narrators going back to the Holy Prophet Muhammad. And their argument was, well, this makes it authentic. And interestingly, as the trial went on, they presented a translation of something else, where the word mutawatir was used, and they translated that not as authentic, but as a continuous chain. And I pointed this out to the judge. So the point I'm making is that from the use of these words, people draw their own conclusions. And this is the difficulty with hadith. But the point to remember is this, that if, let's say, a hadith is zaif, like it is said that the sign which about the authenticity of the coming of the Messiah, which is the eclipse of the sun and the moon in Ramadan, it is said that hadith is zaif, that hadith is weak. But the point is this, it is only weak on technical grounds. It doesn't fulfill all the conditions that were laid down by the Imams for a hadith. But it's a strong hadith in that it's come true. It happened. There can't be a greater proof of the authenticity of a hadith than the fact that it has happened, it has come true. Similarly, when we say that hadith is sahih, for example, it doesn't mean to say that it's authentic. It doesn't mean to say that the Holy Prophet must have spoken those exact words. All it means is that that's saying that hadith, it fulfills the conditions and requirements that the Imams laid down for it. So it falls into that category, technically speaking. Now you see, if you think about it, for example, there are many versions of the final khutbah that the Holy Prophet Muhammad gave. Why is that? The reason is that, as you know, the Holy Prophet would say a sentence, and then some distance from the Holy Prophet would be another man, he would repeat that, and some distance from him would be another man, and he would repeat that, and some distance from that would be another man who would repeat that, because it said that there were 100,000 people who listened to that khutbah. Now I'm having a hard time speaking very loud, so all of you can hear it. So how could the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam speak loud enough for 100,000 people? So people might have misheard, people might have forgotten some words and so on. And we all know about Chinese whispers and so on and so forth. And this is why we have slightly different versions of that khutbah that we have. So, but just to summarize this point, it's worth remembering that Sahih and Hadith and Husan and Mawzu and so on, these are only technical terms. that arise from how the Imams categorized these things and the conditions that they laid down. It doesn't actually mean that a hadith is actually strong or a hadith is actually weak, because obviously, we don't know what the Holy Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam may have said or not said to his companions. So more on hadith next week.